Okay, I'm back with a quick video. After watching the video I just did, finished yesterday, I decided these cards are so good, I want to do a bonus video and talk about how cool these monsters are. So that's what we're going to do. Please stick around. I'm AZ Mountaineer. You guys know that because you're watching the bonus video. This is Old School Rules, where we celebrate people who love this classic RPG stuff. Let's dive right into these monsters. Okay, so we're going to take a look at all these monster cards specifically. I'll show them to you and I'll tell you what they are. I'll give you the name of what they are, starting top left and go across and down, and a little bit of highlights about each of them as we go. All right, so we've top left, we've got the Cowlot tree. It's a carnivorous plant. As you can see, it's got these arms that'll reach out and try and get a hold of you. 10 to 30 branches, and they drag you in. You can try to, obviously hack through them to get away, hack the base of the tree to kill it. The rock ape, actually a stone golem that looks a lot like an ape made out of stone. Fire, cold, normal edged weapons have no effect, so you need some magical weapons to try and do that. Or you can cast a rock to mud, because it is made out of rock, and that's a creative way to take care of it. The man tree, just a large carnivorous tree, says it's sentient and can use some of its arms like human arms if it has, maybe get a hold of a weapon or something, wrap you up. And then it says if you can hit the flower on top, 2% chance, then you could kill it automatically, but otherwise it's tough to kill. The lava monster I mentioned in the main video, it's a creature made out of lava. Slashing weapons won't do any effect on it, and you need magical weapons of, I guess, blunt type to try and cause damage or use cold. The apt, APT, here at the bottom, says it's the size of a hippopotamus with insect-like eyes, a couple of fangs, and an extra set of limbs, and they have like actual hands with opposable thumbs and things like that, and so they can use weapons. And this crazy 8-legged lion-looking creature is called a banth. It says mostly hairless. Its scream can cause paralysis. It kind of freaks you out, paralysis, and of course they can claw and bite. Okay, so then we have the winged ape, which it says is basically the size of a gorilla with a prehensile tail and these bat-like wings. We have the Thark, this aardvark-looking guy. It says he looks like a reptile, but he obviously has extra arms, and he can use hold and use weapons and things like that. And is a pretty fearsome attacker. They can appear in numbers of 1 to 100. Then we have the pterodactyl. This one, if you can see the drawing, has a little guy riding on back of it, and this is essentially a giant flying dinosaur. The octonoceros, looks like a rhino, has 8 legs, and a lot of armor flaring around it. Reminds me of a triceratops, to tell you the truth. And it can shoot energy rocks at people, and so these are unstable nuclear material, and if it slams into something, it'll explode, but only for 1d8 of damage. These little things at the bottom are called Ulcilio. They're Martian rats. I don't know how they got here from Mars, and they have nasty little teeth, and they'll bite you. Then we have the Sylphus, a combination of water and air, conjured by windwalkers. I'm not sure where windwalkers came from. They look like large clouds of dense fog, and anyone who's near them when they get killed will die. I'm really not sure how that happens exactly, but that's what it said. So this next one is not a Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is called an Adaptoid. Vicious, fast, and hard to kill. The first attack of any round succeeds, but it's so quick at adapting that any attack after that, the first attack could succeed, but if it does, then it adapts, and you can never attack it the same way twice, which is a pretty crazy way to adapt. And he's filled with some type of acid, and so if you cut him, then acid will spew out and burn you. This crazy little creature on the top right is called the Cowlet. It says it's like a size of a Shetland pony. It's actually a hairless dog with, they love lots of legs. This one has 10 legs and a frog-like head with tusks. And it can bite and hang on until you kill it to make it let go. These look like little mice, but they are sand mercs. It says they are rat-like creatures, obviously travel in packs of 100 to 1,000. Usually try to stay away from combat because they don't want to get killed. But if they chitter, their little voices, they can cause fear in the victim and cause them to run away. And if they collapse from exhaustion, then maybe they'll pile on and try and eat you. Slivy Toves is this weird-looking drawing. Looks like a bunch of comic book kapows. It just says they gyrate in the sunlight, and people within 30 feet can end up being confused. And the chances of hitting them are at a severe negative. It's not really sure. It says they have no known purpose. So they seem to be unintelligent, just something you would encounter as sort of a challenge, and maybe, but hopefully you'd have the good sense to move away from. At the bottom we have the Nigisob, a chameleon-like power to make it look like anything it desires, and so no one knows what its true shape is. It can create any type of trap, and if he takes a shape that could use a weapon, he can use a weapon. Also known as the Now I've Got You, SOB, it says, so I guess it's a little bit of a joke. The bottom right is Gloop, and Gloop is a glob of white material with 2 sets of black eyes. It can also move its body into infinitely stretchy or other type of forms. It can split in half, and it has a -9 armor class. So that's a pretty good one. If you can cast slow on it, it will lose its armor class down to an 8. Regenerates any cuts immediately, but permanent damage from fire, acid, slowed by cold and cold spells will attempt to envelop victims inside of the gloop, making it hard for you to get away. All right, so this next creature at the top is the Energy Monster. Creation, detail unknown, entirely out of stabilized energy. Looks like a glowing outline, can change size and shape at will. Spells and weapons will pass through it, and so that it uses sonic power. Mental power is also useless. It attaches by touch, and the more powerful the creature, the more powerful the damage. So, and as it does damage, it loses its hit points. So there's only two ways to kill the Energy Monster. Drain all its hit points by it causing you damage, or to overload it. It says it will absorb energy from attacks like Fireball, Lightning Bolt, and if it absorbs too much energy and can't get rid of it 10 times the original hit points, then it explodes, doing 1 to 20 points of damage to everybody nearby. The creature on the ceiling on the top right is Maglub of the Thousand Eyes. Maglub of the Thousand Eyes. A brownish or black pudding covered with little eyes all over it that look to be made of some type of crystal substance. Composed of pollution. This very conscious, very environmentally conscious monster. The creature is composed of pollution and is destroyed by putting oxygen into it and lighting it on fire. It can be powered by solar energy, although it looks like it's inside a cave here. It can, and then I guess maybe it absorbs energy and it can remain out of bright light up to 24 hours. If it's in darkness longer than that, it goes into hibernation until it gets back in the light. Not sure how it would be, I guess, unless you drag it out there. And it can divide up into multiple small pieces. Next, we've got this spirit with the scythe. This is the Death Angel. And it obviously is a skeleton with a black hood and a gold scythe and a silver hourglass. The scythe is +5. The hourglass allows you to time jump up to 1 hour. Yeah, so he is an undead, although it doesn't say anything about being able to turn him. Then we have Dracula, King of Vampires. And he can shapeshift at will into bats, rats, wolves, or fog, and do the following things at will: spider climb, telekinesis, generate fog, and there's a chance he can overcome any religious symbol, i.e. cleric turning or mirror, because of course those are commonly known ways to try and deal with a vampire. Sunlight causes pain, and obviously he'll avoid that, so he's sort of like your typical Dracula from myth and legend. At the bottom, this frankly horrible looking ugly dragon is the rainbow dragon. Speaks all languages, never asleep, true neutral alignment, has lots of spells, and it could be neutral, could be lawful. Lives in mountains or dungeons. So it looks like he is gray until one melee round before he goes to do his breath weapon, and he changes to whatever color he decides to breathe out. And then we have the genie, which is pretty straightforward creature. Then we have these 4 elemental lords: water, fire, earth, and air. They're all pretty powerful, 32 hit dice monsters. And then at the bottom, this I think is the most powerful monster in the entire deck, the Enigma, 12 hit dice. And maybe I'm reading that wrong, but I thought it was the hardest monster in here. This is a created being created by the gods. Enigmas are a combination of matter and antimatter, energy and anti-energy, and they follow the will of whoever created them. And they can use their god, whatever god creates them, they can use that god, that deity's power, any of their powers, and they can, like I said, one power shoots from the white hand, and the opposite type power will shoot from the black hand. They can go from man-sized to 50 feet tall. So just a really kind of weird thing. I'm not sure what the inspiration was there. Here's the Windwalker. They talked about that other creature, Windwalkers. This is a man surrounded by howling wind, and immune to all weather-based spells. Okay, up here at the top we've got Figora's Frantic Fungi. You see these mushroom-looking creatures here on the right of the party. They put out spores that explode if you touch them or are surrounded. Any loud sound occurs near them, and then you'll be covered in the shower of spores, which will grow rapidly, covering around and killing victims, unless you save versus poison, or else you get covered with the fungus all over your body. To the right there, we've got the Dragon Man, a humanoid creature, looks sort of like an obviously dragon, except for he's got arms and hands on the front. Created by Ganadrine, and you've got this race of people that can use weapons or magic, and not actually friends of real dragons. Okay, next row, we have the Dragon Newts. These creatures are a human-looking cross between human and reptile, I suppose. They can use magic and or be clerics. Usually they don't use any other weapons except for their fangs and talons. And it's supposed to be like a separate subterranean race that stays away. Then we've got these skeletons, but they're not skeletons. They're children of the dragon teeth. These skeleton-like creatures are born from the teeth of dragons with armor and weapons. But they are not undead. They are magical creatures fighting as 5th level fighters. And it says they suggest that a magic user could learn the incantation necessary if they had dragon's teeth to create these for themselves. At the bottom here we have what they call Dragon Newts, soldiers, and so you have the Dragon Newt priest in the middle on the left, and then the guy riding the ostrich-looking thing at the bottom is a dragon newt soldier. They look the same, so their head looks more like a turtle, and they ride these birds that look like ostriches into battle. Then we've got the dragon laser ray, bottom right. Looks like a small dragon with leather skin instead of scales. It's actually an alien species drawing power from sunlight, and so you don't find them, in dungeons or caves. And they can shoot laser beams from the eyes and from this little round thing at the end of their tail. So there are your dragon laser rays. And then our last two here, we have the wind riders. They look like angels. They're apparently nude, and they fly around with their feathery wings. And this is the rare pacifists that don't like to fight. But they may help you out if you're a good character. And then we have the Flea's Fighoots, and this is little fleas, literally fleas, that have a strength of 1800 somehow, and then those little fleas run around carrying life-size weapons. So you just think you have to see dancing weapons, and you can't tell there's a little flea at the end. That one seems a little bit silly to me. Okay, so that's the end of the bonus video. I hope you enjoyed it. As I've said in some of my other videos, I love new monsters. Really can't get enough of them. Some of these ideas are a little zany, some of them are kind of cool, but just wanted to share all those with you so you can enjoy them in your own campaign. That's it for today. Hope you appreciate the double bonus video, and until next time, my friends, keep rolling 20s.